new software. They'll be on
All
shortly.
right, we are live.
And welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on March 22nd, 2024 at approximately 4:31 p.m. PST. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every movement I make by. With this in mind, I know for an absolute certainty that these tools will work for you because they do continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people over the years. All, with varying degrees of success, all depending upon the individual's personal efforts. With this in mind, now, I did forget to open one thing up here. With this in mind, we are going to set things back a little as far as what we've been talking about, simply because of the fact that that we are working with brand new software, okay, and a whole new approach to the way we've been doing things. This being said, just trying to come up and see what we've got going. Of course, I'm not used to it, so I might be a little sketchy. Don't be surprised on that one. And let's see if I can get the chat room up and running here so I can actually see what I'm looking at. Oh, that is what we did forget to do. Oh, I don't know that. Okay, that killed that. There we go. Oh, perfect. You caught up on that one. Yeah, guys, it's going to be a little choppy today. The whole purpose of this is quite literally to make certain things start moving forward quickly. So we start off here, and we have in the room with the gold is Eternity Eternal. Eternity, I do trust today has been going well. I know things can get a little hectic on your end, but hopefully that's in a good way. Then we have Storm and Shadow in with the silver. And of course, guys, just to be aware, we have made some adjustments. Storm is running StreamYard for me so that if I run into a problem, guess who gets to sort it out? Because I'll tell you, I can jam a system in a real hurry. This said, the StreamYard is not running on my computer. It's running through his. Hopefully, this will eliminate some of the glitching. And we have coming in with the bronze, we have Adam Lakatos. Adam, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, now you're gonna have to forgive me, Adam. I forget what course you were taking. What, if you don't mind me asking, what course are you actually taking? And hopefully it is going well. Now, with Adam, coming in right behind Adam is LA Moon with honorable mention. And again, LA is working with Storm to try and keep things running smoothly so I can focus more on what's going on here. Don't hold your breath on my keeping it focused. Okay. Steve, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And what do we got here? Just scrolling down. There we are. Oh, excellent, Adam. Yeah, I actually took a course in business administration when I first came out of school. It worked really well until I found ping pong. My fourth semester was an absolute disaster where it came to schooling. But boy, did I ever get good at amateur ping pong. Now I stand at the end of a ping pong table too long. My leg will buckle, I'll sit on the floor. Now again, guys, if you've got a question, absolutely. If you've got a question, doesn't matter if it's on the same topic we're talking about. Okay. But drop the question into the chat room in preferably all caps or at least partial caps at the very minimum, put a wavy hand in there so I can see them. And again, this is just because I have trouble tracking them down. Now, with that in mind, if I don't answer a question, you've got two options. One, repost the question, okay, and I will keep my eyes open for it. Two is drop me a line in one of the links below, and you will find very quickly that things are working out quite, you'll find I do my best to return to, to respond to you. And while I'm doing this, I should have done this ahead, but like I said, we're working on a whole new set of projects. Oh yeah, try opening that up now, and everything glitches. But what the heck? Where are we? I'm just trying. The next time I will have this open, and it took me a little while to get things organized the first time. So we're going to be a little glitchy, but I figured I'd go back to the beginning of things, quite literally. And with us looking at this being Friday, and therefore the paranormal side of things, why not go back to the beginning of it and see what we're actually looking at? Energy itself is the critical factor. What you got to remember is all creation starts in the etheric level, comes down, it will either get to your brain or your heart first. In either event, the next step will be to get to the other one. But there's an old saying that goes very succinctly. When your head and your heart, when your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, you can achieve it. Now, I'm telling you, I hid from the world and, frankly, from life for the first 55 years of my life. Not necessarily the brightest move I could have made, but it was the one I did make. So now what we're looking at is finally getting around to make things happen. Now, I am looking at a couple of things that are very necessary here. We open up those two. And again, this is, this today is being complicated by one additional little problem. Okay, that little problem being very succinctly put, that we ended up with a power outage last night that as far as my service went, that lasted until this morning sometime. Okay, so we're still picking up the pieces from that. Now, I am looking for something very simple here. Where is it? Should be right there. Here we are. Joe goes, most of the time, if you get a really strange voicemail, 100% of the time it is a scam. I would agree 99, certainly. But I don't put 100% on anything personally. But usually the really strange voicemails, I look at and go, don't recognize it, not dealing with it. But I do agree with you there, Joe. Yeah, absolutely keep a very close eye on things. If something doesn't feel right, default to the idea that is, you default to the idea that it's a scam. Because I'll tell you, if you default to the idea that it's real, you could be running into a much bigger problem. And somehow I just figure that's not necessarily a good idea. But do watch yourself. I will tell you, there's a couple of things I have found you look out for. If somebody says, I guarantee, right off the bat, throw a question mark up. The only exception, it's the only thing I've guaranteed to anybody. I will absolutely I will answer your questions. You may not like the answer. The one thing I'll guarantee is I won't lie to you and make you feel better unless you ask. Okay. Of course, if you ask me to lie to you, certainly I will. But I will also tell you I'm lying to you. Now, where are we? And I haven't figured out how to do that because it ain't working the way it was. Storm, if you could be kind enough to pin that to the top of the chat, that'd be great. And we have Wu has shown up. How you doing, Wu? But the neat little part of the whole thing there, Joe, is there is so much. People say technology is a problem. Well, technology has some pretty solid issues. Okay, it's got some pretty solid things that are going on. What we have to remember is that there is a problem when technology is not controlled. And when I talk about it being controlled, I mean the individual using it does not pay attention to what they're doing. When they don't control what they're doing. Ange, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day has been going well. Well, that was a near disaster. Now, the thing is, let's take a look at energy the way it works. Okay. Everything, in case you hadn't pieced it together, is comprised of energy. Now, I don't know what your belief structure is. To me, it doesn't matter. Okay. As what matters to me is not the labels used for things. It's how you treat other people. Because this live stream has got to be maintained as safe for everybody. Now, I've talked to people that are very superstitious, very caught up in their own way of looking at things. Okay, but the thing you got to remember is whether you believe in something or you don't, certain things are going to happen. You don't have to believe in gravity for gravity to act on your behalf in bringing you back to the ground. Okay, but I will tell you, if you convince yourself that I can fly, this is fantastic. Test it, absolutely. Get up on a chair, okay, and I'm talking about a chair that is like, child's height off the floor. So you're looking at get up on a curb, and if you have convinced yourself you can fly, let's use a little bit of common sense, shall we? Well, how little do you want to use? I stepped off a 14th floor building. You step off a low one. If you can fly from there, then you can look at testing it further. But do not make the mistake of assuming, like the guy in Africa did, that your belief is going to protect your corporeal body. Now, the reality is, when we start looking at flying, okay, or more to the point, when we start looking at landing, there are very few people in life that have ever been killed by the fall. Although I will tell you that stop at the ground floor plays absolute havoc. Thank you. And when we go back to the beginning as we know it, okay, reality started out with a gateway opening. Okay, now I'm not going to debate whether you believe in God, whether you believe in spirits, nature. Call it a pickle sandwich. Don't matter to me. Okay. And said, a rose by any other name will smell as sweet. Okay. And I absolutely agree with him. Okay. As a matter of fact, I met him. I was about 6 years old when I met him. To be clear, I was not William Shakespeare. Okay. That one I'm just not going to let him to. Certain things still play. I mean, yes, we're using new software. What we're not using is a new person, which means I'm still as scattered as ever. So you're going to have to bear with that, sort of. Okay, but when this rendition of reality was set in motion, you got to realize, you don't have to. It was set up in a very logical fashion. Okay. And what I mean by that is everything is so succinctly, so nicely put together. You take a look at the configuration of the atom, of the cell, of the corporeal system, and of the universe itself. Everything is linked and it is all very similar. They're all put together in the same way. Now, this said, reality has a certain amount of definitive logic to it. It was designed so that spirits could literally experience, a more orderly existence. Now, what you call God, okay, I mean, let's be clear. Number one, I'm not going down a religious track here. But for those of you that are worried about it, yes, I believe wholeheartedly in Christ. However, I do not believe God, as you know it, is the top of the totem pole. And no, I'm not about to sit here and try and prove it. When we take a look at energy. Okay, Tony D, how we doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, good thought there, Joe. Do not stress about scam numbers. I mean, you got a lot of things you can stress about. I don't recommend that one. When I look at the reality of it, the reality itself was set together in a very logical fashion. Now, real basic science. Okay, everybody with basic science, at least the way I was taught, came to the understanding that you have atoms and they are surrounded by electrons. But I was also told that there is no space, there is just empty space in, outside of the Earth, aside from other planets. I'm telling you, between the planets, it's a lot of things, but empty is not one of them. Now, spirits can travel through that without having to breathe. So yes, astral travel is a possibility. When we're looking at energy, you got to remember, okay, every one of you has the same capacity. You can absolutely work outside the realm of the corporeal body. But first rule of thumb, you've got to believe it's possible. Yeah, and Tony, thanks very much. We are literally using a new system here. And, I'm hoping that the video is clear. I don't know if that's my video or Frank's. But video fan, what I'm looking at on my active screen is a little pixelated. Sorry, old computer. Hopefully that's not going to make too much of a problem. But we are taught that there is nothing in outer space. Okay, hydrogen is the smallest molecule, the smallest atom available. Bad news. No, it's not. Now, you think about the logic behind it, and we'll get into the chaos problem. What we're going to do this week, just to be clear. Today, we're looking at the energy itself. Tomorrow, we are going to show you how and give you tools to work with regarding how to take the information from today and modify it and manipulate it. In other words, pick it up and move it around so that you can co-create a better world, a better life for you. Joe, you should set a TV up there so they can watch it. I got her invited me into your room. That'll be fun. Joe, I thought we agreed you weren't going to swear here. What's this talking about? A 4-letter word called snow. Okay. I'm quite happy now. Where I am, we got no snow. Yeah. Here we go. Tony, not Tony, Joe goes, we got snow. And that, 2 lines down, we got LA going, we got 80-degree temperature. I'm thinking this is a nice little swap. I wonder, if I take a look at mine, and I'm looking at 12, well, 12 degrees I have from up here is 24, is about 76. Okay. And that's just a real rough rendition. when you take a look at the energy that exists. There we go. Yeah, Tony goes, yeah, Southwest Wales. The neat part there, that actually, Tony, is actually where my great grandfather came from. As a matter of fact, if you look into our family history, now I didn't do it myself, but my older brother looked into it, and apparently it was my ancestors that were sitting on the throne of Wales during the War of the Roses. Not necessarily our most auspicious time. But when we take a look at the way that the energy works, it's a very logical, very organized setup. Now, we go from there and tomorrow we'll deal with how to utilize it to your world. Right now, we just have to understand one little detail. Okay, whether you believe you can do something or you believe you can't doesn't guarantee you'll be able to, but I will tell you, believing you can do something stacks the deck in your favor. Doesn't guarantee that you'll survive it or that you'll accomplish it, but at least it will stack the deck. Now, something we got to realize, okay, is there's this neat little way we can look at it. We can look at the way the world is, and we can go, it's all going to collapse. I don't know if this is good news or bad news. Some of you are going to look at it and go, I'm stuck here for the next however many years. Well, yeah, pretty much. Now, are you going to die? Certainly. Okay, you can virtually guarantee you're going to die. I'm not about to tell you when. But the important factor is not, are you going to die? The important factor is, how are you going to live? Now, right now, I am in the middle. Right now, I am smack in the middle of turning around and going, okay, I'll be 61 years old in about a month here. Okay, about a month and a half. Specifically the 13th of May. Which means, yes, I will be down in Reno on my birthday. Now, the neat part there is I don't travel well, so I'm gearing things up to make certain that I enjoy it as much as I can. Now, you'll notice when you look at the way energy works, it works in a logical fashion, and this is where karmic law comes in. Energy out, energy in. Whatever you put your effort into, this is what you're stacking the deck in favor of. Now, here's the biggest trick in the book, okay, that I have found in any culture, any species. Doesn't matter. It applies to every individual, no matter how well seated you are, no matter what your past or what your future is gearing up to be. Okay, and that is this neat little thing. And I'm just about warm enough now. I can do something with it. Okay, this neat little sign. I am worth it. Those 4 words in combination in any language are the most powerful combination I've come across regarding self-esteem, self-worth, self-motivation, self-actualization. We can even throw in self-fulfillment. The trick is to realize that whatever effort you're putting into your life, that's the effort that you're going to end up attaining. That's what you're creating. So if you're not content with your life right now, not next week, now is the time to start changing it. Now we take the logical organization of the universe. Okay. Now Einstein tried explaining this to people a long time ago. And I'm not debating whether Einstein was brilliant, but I will tell you the formula that he gave people for the theory of relativity is, frankly, it's a fabulous formula. Works like a charm. I will get to that in 10 seconds there, Joe. Well, probably a little longer. But I see you've asked, what is shielding? Okay. When Einstein said the theory of relativity, here's a theory for you. And you guys get to figure it out because he tried to explain this to the scientists and they couldn't wrap their brain around it. But here it is. 1 plus 1 equals 3. Okay, it's not math. Now, you wrap your brain around that, and you'll be able to make staggering headway. And yeah, I can't explain it in more detail, and we'll get to that. But first and foremost, Joe Stewart has asked, what is shielding? Now, you've heard me talk about the biomagnetic flux. Literally, that is an energy field that your body, that your spirit generates around your physical body. Shielding modulates that field to stop other energies from entering your life force and altering the path you're on, as in influencing you or encouraging you to change directions in a way that is not okay. So you concentrate on, and this is why I say, some of you have heard of surrounding yourself with a bubble of white light. Okay, what that does, what you're doing is creating a luminous field, which is another form of energy. And believe it or not, luminosity is in certain wavelengths is a solid field, which will bounce things off it. Okay, what that circle and what that bubble of white light does is it creates a field that protects you from the negative ambient energy that is on this planet just by being in existence. Okay, it is a field that is just automatically generated. You put that white light around you, that will reflect off the negative ambient energy that you're dealing with. Okay, net result, it won't make you as depressed when you run into it. Conversely, it also won't drive you off the deep end with excess energy. Now, when you take that bubble of white light, that's its purpose. Okay, this is not the same as that white light that we talk about when people die. Okay, now you take that bubble, surround it completely. Remember, we're talking bubbles, so we're talking 360 around, over, you name it. You get the idea. Okay, we're talking 360 degrees with mirrors facing away from you, so that when the energy comes in, it hits the mirror and bounces off. But because of the configuration of the mirrors, it will transmute that energy from a negative to a positive. Kind of like swapping a negative electron and turning it into a negative valence and turning it into a positive valence. It flips the energy and sends it right back to the direction it was coming in. Now, unlike the atmosphere, when energy hits this bubble of this third bubble, okay, doesn't matter where it's coming from, it will hit that bubble because the bubble itself is an oscillating setup. Okay, it changes the field and the field flexibility so that every instance of negative energy hits at a direct angle. Okay, it's directly perpendicular to the surface of the field of reflective energy. Net result, after it hits, gets transmuted to positive energy and bounced straight back at the person who generated it. Now, this will modify the impact it has when somebody deliberately or subconsciously generates a negative energy field and pushes it towards you. It'll transmute and bounce right back to them, thereby dissipating the negative and propagating the positive. Now, that takes care of the energy that other people are generating. Then we have you take really healthy, thick roots. You run them straight from your feet right to the core of the earth. The reason for this is it will bleed off the negative energy you personally generate. Things like self-doubt, self-recrimination, self-loathing, all of these real negative emotions that you have in your head. Now, I will warn you, if you surround your mind with ideas that there are angels all over the place and they're here to help, this will bolster your energy. It will bolster your feeling. Whether it's real or not is not the relevant factor. Okay, now I'm sure most of you have heard about something called a placebo in modern medicine, where the doctor gives you essentially a sugar pill and says, this will help you. Okay, the reason that works is because you believe it will work. The same thing applies to incoming energy. If you believe in your heart that you have guardian angels that are going to come down and help you, it won't force any of them, but it will help you keep a much more positive outlook. Okay, now, with that in mind, if you believe that you are surrounded by demons, by devils, by somebody that's out to get you, okay, what you're going to find is, never mind whether it's real. This is why they call it paranoia. It doesn't have to be real to have a negative effect. Okay, if you believe you are being bombarded, the one thing I will caution you about, I'm not going to debate whether or not it's good or bad that's influencing you, but I will tell you it is literally up to you whether you take that on and go, we're all going to die because we've got demons coming after us. You want to buy into that, you're more than welcome. Okay, I will tell you, it doesn't have the same bearing on everybody, because what will happen is you make that comment and half the people around you will go, oh my gosh, you're right. We're all going to go into panic. We're all going to die. This is why there are billions of people listening to people standing up and going, hey, the devil's coming to kill you and the demons are going to wipe us out. And the ancient, the off-worlders are going to come in. They're going to wipe out our world. Okay, guys, get over it. You're not that important. Well, that was subtle. Could have probably been politer. But whether you believe that's the case or not is not the point. If you believe that everything that's going on around you is going to hurt you, is going to stop you from succeeding, I got news for you. Whether it's real or not, you're going to act as though it was real. Okay, now here's the kicker to it. I went over a situation. No, I'm not going to tell you what the past life was. Okay, but I sat down with my brother. Now, my brother, to be clear, has passed away. Okay, but before he passed away, I sat down with him in front of my mom and dad, and I told him, I said, look, I've got a past life memory that I don't know what to do with. I spent 3 hours laying it out for him in front of mom and dad. Now, the reason I'm going with this past life thing is this. We get the way energy comes. We're all built of energy. Take a look at the configuration of the atom you're made up of. Look at the configuration of the universe. It's the same pattern. Okay. And yes, we will get into more in the way of past lives and what have you. The one I'm referring to, I laid this thing out for 3 hours. Gave my brother, and what I told him to start with is I said, okay, I don't require you to tell me whether I'm right, wrong, nuts, sane. Doesn't matter. What I require, because you are primarily logic-based, is I really desire you to listen to what I've got to say and then tell me what to do with it. Just treat it as though that's the reality. And this is the same approach I use with you guys. When somebody puts a question in my lap, I will take a look at it and go, okay, I'm not going to tell you whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I will simply look at it and go, okay, that's your belief structure. We work within those parameters to help you come to terms with it. Now, I laid the situation out to him. And at the end of it, he looks at me and he goes, Keith, he says, you're talking, because I did this with only one past life. Okay, now I think I've got either 18 or 20 on this particular world that I've already documented. But my brother looks at me and he goes, look, he says, you're asking about past life memories. In today's world, with today's technology, you're not going to get proof, period. So he says, failing proof, you have to look at circumstantial evidence. Now he goes, to be clear, okay, circumstantial evidence is what the police use to determine if somebody is innocent or guilty. Okay, in lieu of having actual physical evidence. He says, you've got enough circumstantial evidence to have somebody convicted of murdering somebody where the victim died 100 years before you were born. Okay. I said, great. So what do I do with it? He goes, well, I cannot tell you whether it's real or not, but I do suggest you live your life exactly as though it's real, but keep your eyes open for that one thing that derails it. Now, this is one of the reasons why I tell you, do not, where we look at proof, okay, you'll get your proof in time. In my case, usually about 30 years down the road. But I told him, and my brother tells me this, in front of my mom and dad. Okay, a few years later, and bear in mind, my father was sitting there in the room while my brother laid it out. My father flat out apologized for leaving me thinking I was completely nuts and told me that every one of my memories, past lives, reincarnation, psychic phenomenon, energy work, advanced healing, all of it was real. Okay, now, this was on his deathbed. In my father's case, that didn't matter. If he came out of his mouth, he was being honest. Like me, he wasn't exactly the most subtle, but he was a whole lot more subtle about it than I was. Of course, when you think about it, he died almost 10 years ago now, okay, at 80. Well, that means he was close to 30 when I was born. And if you think about it, that's pretty much the case, maybe a little older. But I just don't feel like doing the math. So we have an interesting situation. The world, the existence as we know it, is built in a very logical fashion. Now, how mankind came about, if you want to follow Darwin or you want to follow God's creation, you take your pick. I'm not here to debate which one's right, wrong, or indifferent. But in any event, however you see it, that's up to you. Joe's going, oh, I'm watching Nathan's last show on the big TV. Do not cross. It's fantastic. And that's the nice part about it. I wonder if I've got the capacity of doing this. I don't usually. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm working with things. Nathan, where are we? There. Let's see if this works. It should. Take that. We pop that. I don't think I can do that. Oh, for crying in a water bucket. Okay, that was a bad idea. Okay, I'll have to figure out how to do that later. Okay, we just found out the hard way. I think I just dumped my live feed. I did. That's always fun. Okay. Clearly, I'm not putting anything in the chat room. Like I said, this is new. This is new tech. So I'm not doing anything with it right now. We're just going to have to work with it this way. The neat part about it is, my dad sat there on his deathbed and told me it's real. Now, here's the thing. No matter how you believe you came about to be here, okay, the chaos factor in reality is the corporeal decision making. Every single corporeal individual, every one, whether they have what humans call sentience or not, has free will, free choice. Okay, what you don't have is freedom from consequence. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do something with that. But that's okay. In the thing we have to realize is there's three aspects to all parts of reality. You've got the positive, the negative, the positive, and the neutral. All of them are combined. Now, like I said, science looks at the whole idea of electrons. You've got all this empty space. Well, the neat part about it, when we look at the nets, when we look at all this empty space, it's not empty. Okay, whatever you visualize, whatever you visualize, what you're going to find out is you're stacking the deck in that creative process. Now, what we're going to look at is this. Just to give you an idea of what energy feels like. Take your two hands. If you can see me, you can see I've got my hands up. Okay, turn them towards each other, palms towards each other. Because I'm telling you, trying to get the back of your hand to point towards each other is going to be problematic. Put your hands towards each other, a quarter inch, maybe a half an inch apart. Okay, with that in mind, when you do that, you'll feel some sort of energy between the hands. This is the energy, this is biomagnetics. Okay. It's that energy that you utilize to do from create a problem in solution. Okay. Ultimately, it's up to you how you desire to make your life go. But if you believe you're going to be frowned upon and held back all your life, I'm warning you, you're going to help co-create it. It's up to you whether you buy that or not. And just like gravity, you don't have to believe me. Okay, it'll prove it to you. Something we have to understand is okay, it's not just you that is doing the work. This is why I use the term co-creation. Because when you work with other people, you can enhance their ability and your own belief structure to the point of making things happen more effectively. But it is up to you to put the work into it. Now, the neat little part about it, okay, is we have an opportunity here. You can continue following the path you've been on, okay, and continue co-creating barriers to hinder your own success. Or you can start focusing on the things that are working. Your call. Okay. But energy responds to how you believe. Okay. Now do understand there's this neat little philosophy. Thinking about doing something is as bad as doing it. Newsflash. Okay. And not really that big a one. See this neat little book? Okay. This is a side effect of only one individual visualizing the world completely collapsing. Okay. Now, doing it is as bad as doing it. The world we are currently in. Now, this is the Elderbach, the birth of the wolf pack. Okay. If you take the idea that thinking about doing something is as bad as doing it, I will warn you that what you've got is a neat little situation. I've already thought about the world being brought to a grinding halt via a combination of interaction, natural disaster, man-made stupidity, and an overabundance of greed and fear on Earth. Not to mention technological hiccups. These are all combined, so it's not. But if you believe that thinking of something's as bad as doing it, consider this. I'm only one author. There are literally thousands of people that have thought about and written stories based on the concept of the world ending. Let me ask you this. Is your world a burning shambles? If so, you're not listening to to this live stream. But if you believe that's how your life is going to evolve, quite seriously, you're setting things in motion for it. Now, it doesn't guarantee if you think positive, I know that I'm in my world just completely flooded with butterflies and wonderful things. That will not necessarily happen. But let me ask you, would you rather focus your life and your time on what could go wrong, or would you rather look at your life and time as what could go right and then work towards whichever? Okay, it really boils down to an issue of what you're going to do with it. Hopefully this is making sense, because what we're looking at here is just the way that energy itself works. Now, for those of you that are questioning, well, how do you know you can make energy work? That's the easiest part to explain. You're sitting here, okay, and bearing in mind, if everything is comprised of energy vibrating in different rates, okay, and we're just going to have to go with that's the way it is, because there's a lot of different philosophies, but we could go down one heck of a rabbit hole, and that's Raven's department. Okay, we're just going to go with it this way. Everything is and focusing on. That's what the energy is going. It is society's belief structure that will determine whether or not you can make things happen. Now, I'm a firm believer, and somebody else out there, yes, I'm going to drop a really bizarre question in your lap, because it was something my son brought to my attention. Okay, if you believe that your life can change, okay, then you can make it happen. Okay, it may take the guidance of somebody else, and I strongly recommend, if you're aiming at changing the direction your life is going in, absolutely talk to somebody that's done it successfully. Okay, in this fashion, you can avoid the other complications. Now, thus far, everything is working really well. Especially as far as the stream goes. Aside from the fact there is no way I can enter anything into the chat room, but I will talk to Storm about that afterward. Now, I'm sitting here going, where is my life going? How am I going to make this happen? Now, here's the kicker. Take a look across here. Okay. Now, you're going to have to compare it to the past. But, now, it may just have been a trick of the light. But my son asked me the other day why my hair is going black again. Okay. Because he looks at me and he goes, it's not as gray as it was, Dad. Well, I'm asking you is from your standpoint, do you notice a difference? I'm personally partially colorblind, so I always run into a problem with knowing that anyway. And in all fairness, I really don't care in a lot of ways. But when we look at the idea of focusing on a better life, you take a look at that, and I mentioned this whole idea of the list method. Okay, and we'll get to that in a lot more detail tomorrow. Okay, wait a minute. Tomorrow's Saturday, yeah. So tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at how you take your energy, your current energy, and make it work in your favor to alter the path your life is following. Now, let me ask you this. I've been trying to figure that out, Joe. But Joe just going, the best thing to do is not putting both foots in the mouth as much. I tried that, but I figured out something. I can get one in easy as pie. The second one seems to take a little more work. But the third one seems to come by naturally. Sure, there's an idea. Let's try vertigo. That always works well. But I do agree. If you can avoid putting your foot in your mouth, that's ideal. But here's the thing about putting your foot in your mouth. Okay, first thing you gotta remember is the way you see the world may not coincide with the way other people do. Okay, I've been on, and thank you very much there. Now, how, pray tell? Somebody's going to have to explain that to me later. Because I can tell you right now, this has got to be either Storm or LA doing it. Because they're working behind the scenes for me. And that brings up that other neat little point. Okay, I've turned the running of the stream over to them, so I don't have the problems. Okay, but this said, understand. Okay, I am myself. I right now cannot enter anything into the chat room without having all kinds of problems. So from that standpoint, when we take a look at the way your world goes, you decide what you're looking for. Do you want a life that you're happier with, or are you content fearing everything falling apart? Now, I've got one contact I know that keeps sending me information of, oh, the politicians are doing this and they're screwing this up. The reality is politicians have been screwing things up for centuries. I remember in about 100 BC, sitting on the Roman Senate and trying to convince these geniuses that treating the serfs like garbage was not going to work well. How are we doing there, Ken? Glad you could join us. I tried telling them, you keep treating people like garbage, they are going to turn on you. Okay, I spent about 40 years in the Senate trying to teach these people. They didn't listen. They ended up with a gladiatorial revolt. Here's the stupid part about it. Here we are, 23, 24, just about 2,500 years later, and mankind is still doing the same stupid thing. Okay, they are still promoting we're all going to die. Uh-oh. LA, I'm going to have to ask for clarity there. You said you don't understand. What I don't know is what you don't understand. And just for everybody involved, everybody that's out there, if you've got a question, definitely put a reference in the question where you've got it of where that question came from. Okay, because clearly I'm on one topic and I carry on without slowing down. I'll shift gears on you. Oh, okay. And that's no problem. This is why I'll get lost sometimes to miss a lot of what's going on in the stream because, frankly, I don't pay attention to it. But if you believe that you deserve to be downtrodden, you can bet you're going to set things in motion to make that happen. Okay, but the universe, one thing you got to remember, people say, if you want something, say you want it. Okay, I'm going to tell you wholeheartedly, telling the universe that you want something is creating an energy of lack. Okay, and that literally boils down to, I want to lose X amount of weight. What the universe hears is I desire to experience a lack of losing weight. Now, where it comes to weight, first and foremost, and like I said, your body will react to your thoughts. Okay, so when you go, I want to do something, you're creating the possibility and thereby the reality of a sense of lack. So you want to lose weight, what you're actually doing is going, I'd like to keep the weight on. I want to look like, I'm aiming at it, looking like I'm trying. Okay, now we're going to get into linguistics as time goes on. But whether you believe you can do something or you believe you can't, inevitably you're likely to find yourself correct. Okay, but it's up to you whether you do anything with it. Let's see. What do you, Tony is asking, what do you think the phenomena is actually us, and through the physics of the quantum sort, what the collective consciousness perceives is what, well, okay, first and foremost, essentially, Tony, you're right. Okay, reality is a battle of wills. What you as an individual perceive, what you feel is real. You're up against everybody else's belief. Okay, now, do understand something. It was said very, very succinctly. Okay, very succinctly in Endgame. Okay, unbelievable. Now, where was I going with that? Okay, what you're looking at. Oh, that's what it was. When you believe something, okay, whether everybody else agrees with you or not, you've got to take it to heart and go, you have to stand your ground on it. Okay, now understand, because if you're standing your ground, I said it was going to happen this way, therefore that's what's going to happen. If a lot of people are against you, check their philosophy, compare it to yours. Okay, this is where a discussion comes in handy. Because if, when you take a look at the phenomena of modern existence, whether you believe it or not, whether you call it creation, Darwinism, evolution, doesn't matter. Okay, you can call it a thimble in a peanut butter sandwich. The name doesn't make a difference. Okay, but you've got to come to realize that if you know that's right, when you have a philosophical discussion with somebody, when the discussion is over, if you are questioning your belief, then you miss something. Okay, and you've got to reassess it. If, however, you do not question your belief, and they're the ones questioning theirs, they are the ones that have a miscalculation in there. Now, am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I expect you to take my word for it? I wouldn't even suggest it. I do suggest that you follow your own instincts, do your own research. Okay, I appreciate that, Tony. There are days when I literally feel like I've been banging my head against the wall and I've learned absolutely nothing. What do we got here? Honestly, LA goes, I think I've got it. I desire to experience the perfect weight for my body. It's a better statement. Yes, it absolutely is. Okay, absolutely it is. Okay, and the reason for that is because what you've done there is your body knows what's healthy. People that tell you, people that say, oh, I'm only 110 pounds and I'm 5'9" and I feel great. They may. I'm not the one to hear say that. I will tell you the body is not designed to be at that. The average human body was designed to be low fat, okay, and low fat, high energy, and very survival capable. Adam, that is pretty much the crime of the century. This is why, and yes, I am looking into them. This is why this neat little coffee cup. This little monkey keeps drinking my coffee. Now I don't know about you, but I think that's rude. See, I was wise. I turned my coffee pot on before I came down here. Now, when you look at it, when you look at the weight thing there, LA, okay, something that can help accelerate it is you get it in your head, and every time you think about it, every time you're thinking about a diet, immediately change that to, I'm not having a diet, I'm dropping X amount of weight. Now, not being a health professional, I will tell you wholeheartedly that from my experience, okay, if you're dropping a pound to a pound and a half a week, okay, you're on a good path to a sustainable energy level. Okay, because the more you keep active, contrary to popular medication and popular medical approaches, cutting back on how much you eat in a controlled and functional fashion and increasing your energy output will result in a weight drop. Okay, now some people, and this is literally directed at you, LA, some people are not in physical position to get up and put out a whole pile of energy. Well, this is why you gotta take a bigger thermos there, Adam. You really do. Come to think of it, one of the things I've got to go and buy, probably won't for a few months, but I am seriously considering buying myself a new urn. Okay, because yes, I've got a 12-cup pot, but here's the thing: I fill that 12-cup pot, I get 2, maybe 3 of these, and that's it. But energy responds to will. Whatever you feel you're up to, whatever you feel your body can accommodate, that's the message. What do we got here? The whole idea between controlling your weight, whether you're drinking too much, eating too much, smoking too much, there is a simple way of overcoming it without withdrawals. And again, it boils down to the energy you put into it. If you continually tell yourself, I'm an alcoholic, I'm going to have a lot of trouble quitting drinking. You tell yourself that, go ahead. You're going to find you're likely right. Okay. Conversely, you can look at it the way I did. Okay, I went into drinking heavily and doing a lot of drugs to drag a total 100% stranger out. When I did that, when she walked out, I walked out that same day. Okay, with one thing in mind. I'm done with the alcohol and the drugs. I don't require them anymore. Net result, I never went back. No withdrawals, no backsliding into the drug world. I just didn't do it. I had no interest in it. Therefore, I didn't take it on. Okay. What we have to realize as a society, the energy is there for you to utilize. Now you'll notice there's something out in the atmosphere around you called an atmosphere. And you're breathing it in. You breathe it in, you pull your oxygen, you put it back out. There's a massively complex system there that enables that to continue mobilizing so you can live a fulfilling life. But it's up to you to decide what fulfilling looks like. That's the real kicker to it. Now, one of the biggest things we have to realize is that the world that you're seeing, are you content with the world around you? Because the energy doesn't care. It is doing exactly what you're focusing on. If you're focusing on having problems, you are going to continue having problems. Okay. If you're focusing on people getting along. Oh, what do we get here? Oh, well, I will have to look at that later. If you're focusing on things going well, that's what you're stacking the deck towards. If you're focusing on them collapsing, guess what you're aiming for? The reality is it's your will. But if everybody else believes that things are a certain way, like for instance, and my dad watched this happen. Okay, this guy got so caught up in his own little world. Bear in mind, this was before cell phones. Okay, and he walked into, well, he was walking along with one other person. And my father was the far side of the tarmac. So much as he saw it happening, he couldn't do a thing about it. The one guy, the lead guy, walked through a propeller that was traveling, a turbine propeller. Okay, that was traveling at a 6-speed. Guy walked out the other side without being touched. Now, he never apparently saw it happen. Okay, the guy behind him, on the other hand, saw him walk through it, and for just that moment, questioned if it was possible. Without a shadow of a doubt, that pause meant they slowed down just enough that the propeller took him out. Okay, now granted, it left his body. Okay, it took the head off right clean as a whistle all the way down to halfway through the solar plexus. If he had stayed focused on whatever he was doing, he may well walk through that. This is a function of biomagnetics. Okay, this is also why the Philadelphia experiment worked to a degree. Okay, because the people working with it went, look, if we can enhance the vibratory rate here, we can make things happen. And they did. They mothballed the idea because they really didn't understand what they had. But when you realize energy bends to your will, but everybody else is going to have their will on it as well. So it really boils down to the clearer you are on your outcome, on the outcome of a situation, the more likely it is to happen. Now, this applies to everything. Okay, and this is why I say, when we look at this live stream, the reason I discuss the things that are working is because there's all kinds of places out there. Newscasts, podcasts, live streams, social interaction, lots of options of you taking a look at the masking that mankind is making and make yourself really disappointed and really disheartened. However, if you turn around and you focus on the things you can accomplish, you're bound to have things turn in a better fashion. But it is up to you. Now, we take a look at the energy and go, okay, Well, now I know we've had a couple of people, add things in. We've had things and people point things out. One thing I will ask you, okay, in your world, are you content with the way your life is? Now, on that note, because I hate being without my coffee, so I'm going to get a refill. And then I will carry on with that thought process. Oh, by the way, if you're trying to follow me, this is what I look like. Oh, look at that. My stream faded. We're locked for a bit. Okay, I am back with the all-important Java. Now, here's the neat thing. Okay, whatever you're up to, whatever you're happy with, now is the time to start working with it, because the energy itself of creation is yours to play with. Okay, it's up to you. Now, if you take the axiom that, if you take the belief that you can do whatever you desire and you take that to heart, stay focused on it, but look at the small things first. And this is where that funny little idea, this is where that funny little idea of making a list, okay, much like Santa Claus, you make a list, you check it twice, okay, find out who took the freaking ice. No, wait a minute, that's not the way it goes. But when you get focused on attaining your dreams, okay, and we'll get into this more, whatever you're focusing on, the energy of creation is right there. You have the capacity. All humans do. Okay, in all fairness, the other races do as well. They just don't have quite the grasp on it. But that's an evolutionary thing. Whatever you focus on, whatever goals you got in mind, I'm looking at the Positive Perspectives, the newsletter, the magazine. Okay, I'm looking at it combining. Absolutely, Ken. Thank you so much for dropping in and sharing your time with us. Really do appreciate it. But while you're traveling, be absolutely certain you pay attention on the road. Stay safe while you're out there. Way too many people don't pay attention. Net result, we have a little bit of a problem. Oh, I missed something here. Joe's gone. Missed this one going by there, Joe. Joe goes, I would just like to say something for anyone in chat who's experiencing paranormal activity. No matter how bad it'll get, and it will get bad, it won't harm you. And that is, on the whole, very true. most people are hurt by the paranormal world because, quite frankly, they believe they're going to get hurt. Okay, I remember years ago, I had a demon come through my door, and when I mean through it, I mean literally, door never opened. He came through the door. He looks at me and he goes, "I am Mephistopheles. You will fear me." You know, the other four people in the room ran up against the far wall and turned chalk white. But you got to remember, one of these guys was black. Okay, myself, I just looked at him and went, "After lunch." So he repeats himself. And this is the thing about your belief. You can believe anything you're given. A demon is something that was intended for you to fear. If you buy into that fear, it will be a problem. But let me ask you this. What is the purpose of instilling fear in people? Why bother? Okay, there's a massive, there is a massive myth that if people are afraid, they will work harder. No, they won't. Okay, they will work, but you will get so much more benefit out of it if you bring people around you nice. And we'll get into that again. And it does what it's for. And if you get enough of you working together, and this is the kicker here, okay, positive perspective is going to become an international phenomenon. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Yep, here we go. He's Keith's signal had dropped off, so we're just holding out to see if he comes back in. Keith's signal had dropped off, so we're just holding out to see if he comes back in. All right. Okay, here we go. Hang on, folks. We'll try and be back in a minute. Well, you all know what they say when they're trying new things. Hey, Nathan from the Quantum Show. We posted your information there earlier. As I said before, he's dropped off. He was having some problems with his internet last night. We weren't sure he was actually going to be on to broadcast today, but he was able to get on. So we'll see if he can make it back into us. So in the meantime, you have to suffer with me. Well, Joe, I appreciate that. Yeah, Nathan, he's just, as I said, he had his internet dropped yesterday, and he was having trouble getting it up today. But he was able to get going, so we figured we'd give it a shot. And if we don't hear from him shortly, then we'll go ahead and call it for tonight. So stand by, everybody. I'll be right back. Yeah, we're still standing by. We're trying to get a hold of Keith to see if we can get him back on the air. So just bear with us, everybody. We'll, new procedures, new broadcasting. It takes time to get things ironed out. So hang on, folks. We'll be right back. All right, had to send Keith another link to the broadcast. So give us a couple of more minutes. We'll see if we can get him back in here. And as we evolve our broadcasting capabilities, we'll add some other possibilities with the broadcast equipment. But since this is our first time out, we're going to have to see how it goes later on. Just bear with us a moment. I'll see if he pops up. I wish I had hold music to put on here, but I don't at the moment. So maybe later.
He's looking for it.
Okay. So I have dropped that link to Keith in his messenger, so it'll be there shortly, and hopefully we'll have him right back. Okay. All right, stand by, everybody. And here we are, and we're back. Hello, Keith.
Hey, how we doing?
All right, we're back on the air. It's all yours.
Perfect.
All right,
okay,
yours,
and now,
and I'll drop on
as
out.
I was saying, okay, thank you so much. As I was saying, and you're going to have to forgive me, but a glitch like that always throws me off track. Where it comes to, well, you don't have to forgive me, that's your call. Where it comes to the way your world is working, it is literally in your capacity to change what your world looks like. But you got to decide whether you're content or whether you're not. Okay? If you're happy with the way your world is working, you get to stay put with it. If you're not happy with it, you're the one that's got control. But you got to remember that you're the one that has to stay focused. If everybody tells you that it won't work, okay, most of the time and within reason, as long as you stay focused on the small jobs first, you'll be able to attain whatever goals you have. Now, right now, we're sitting still. Like when we look at the descriptions to positive perceptions, we're looking at 603 right now. So I think it's 603, or is it more? No, still 603. My goal to take that 603 is not a question of the number, really. It's a question of get this message out to everybody, because so many billions capable of doing anything, and anything, and then it gets conflicting, goes, anything that's going on Okay, anything's going on, you don't have to work at. Take a pill, sit on your backside, and everything will happen. Think warm, fuzzy thoughts. It's a great idea. Doesn't work worth a hoot. Okay, if it did, this world would be in one of two ways. Either we would be living in absolute paradise, or it would be absolute chaos. Okay, because humans still have this idea it's me first. I'm telling you, I'm not the first one. I'm the first one in my own life. Okay, and I tell you, I have, I just got word from my artist in England regarding another one of the novels in the series. Okay, where we just got I've got right in tonight regarding the finalization of the artwork. Because I came to the conclusion that, yes, it took me from 15 years to 61, 60 to get things moving. Actually, about 57, but you get the idea. Okay, I'm going to get this complete. The energy of creation is yours upon. Okay, it's neither good nor bad. And for those of you that believe in good and evil, which I do believe in, but I also believe in neutral. Okay, for those of you that believe in energy itself is not good or evil. It does the thing that you ask it to do. Okay, it does not go the same way. Okay, work with. You're the creator of your own world. Okay, now is the time to call on that. To really let go of the fear that you can't have. I mean, why not? Steve, how you? Actually, I think you were in a little earlier. Like I've mentioned, guys, the reality of it is this. Okay, when we take a look at this world, it's up to you how it's going to pan out. Do you desire to live in a world that the major media and the major social media are telling you, the world that the politicians are telling you, okay, that the religious world is telling you? Do you desire to live in a world where everything is bad, everything is downtrodden, and there are so-called elites running the world? Or are you more interested in living in a world where everyone can prosper? And I'm telling you, with what I'm working on, with the belief structure I have, and this is the whole reason why I do this at all, I'm a firm believer that we can turn things around. But it's going to take some work. The intriguing little reality here is that when we look at concentrating on the negative things, okay, aliens are going to invade us. We're all going to die. You know, if you think about the logic behind that, yeah, if aliens were to invade, they've got the technology to come from light years away. You can bet your bottom dollar they're not using ballistic black powder firearms. Okay, they're using cohesive light, magnetism, energy of varying different forms, and it'll cut right through whatever defense you got. Now, I'm not going to go down the negative road, but if you want to see something that went down a negative road, that's it. Now, the neat little part about it is not only do I write science fiction, I write self-help. Okay, and this is why I say we made some really good headway in Return to Paradise. Okay, made some really good headway there. Got a whole lot of energy moved around. All right. finally caught up to the hood today. Yeah. To work on the world is doing. However it's unfolding. What is this? I just got a text in and I'm trying to figure out where. But keep an eye on that because of the fact that, well, I do have a very definitive outlook. My family requires my two boys.
Okay, folks, it looks like we have this problem again. And looks like he's trying to come back. Let's see. See if we can bring him back in. There you are.
Yeah, hello.
All right.
Well, this is definitely a new one.
Well-
See, now, here's the thing, guys.
Come on, Monty.
Hey, guys, we're using new technology. Before I had to take over, okay, but yes, this stream is a little choppy, but that's why I warned you at the get-go. You know, yes, we can absolutely focus and say that's what we're doing. But I will tell you, technology does not always cooperate. I do appreciate you guys sticking with it because I will tell you, the reality is that it's frustrating from my end as well. Not that that makes you feel any better, but this is why I say it is absolutely critical that you stay focused on what you're aiming at attaining. Okay, now I will be making a whole lot of headway tonight where it comes to book 3, because this is literally, as far as the series goes, this is book 1. Sorry, as the series goes, this is actually book 10. Okay, and that's a long story on how that came about. Book 11, The End of an Epoch, is already in print, and Return to Paradise, I'm intending on having in print ASAP. But we're finally closing in on the end of it. Again, down to this. I've got it in my head now. I got the image in, and I got this storyline handed to me. Now it's becoming a reality. And for me, that ultimately is the point. You know, one of the things we have to realize is whether you believe you can make this happen or you believe that your life is stuck in a rut. And you're always going to have, let's go the real fun way. Well, I appreciate that, Joe. The fact is, I would love everything to go smoothly. In my world, doesn't work. Okay. My world, tech working well is seldom the case. But I've got a number of dreams. One of which is to get the Ildebakian Chronicles out. The second one is to complete the writing of the Believe in Your series. Okay. Now I have determined that the Believe in Your series is going to come out one book at a time. We're already working on Believe in Your organization. This is designed literally to show you how to take your life from where it is, okay, in practical, tried and true methods whereby you can reclaim power over your own life. But what you got to realize is that the energy will do whatever you're aiming at. If you sit there going, I've got this disaster in my house and it's never going to get better because I've been working at it for years and I've never made any headway. Or, I'm overweight by 40, 50 pounds, overweight by 5 pounds, and I just can't drop it. And I just can't lose it. If you believe you cannot, whether you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you will inevitably be right. Now, I'm living proof that just because somebody says something is true does not make it real. Okay. I mean, quiet tables. But I'll tell you, the beds are way
Well, folks, sorry about that. Looks like we're still having some connection difficulties. We'll continue to try to get him back on. But as we're down to the last 20 minutes of the show as it is, hopefully we can get some stuff taken care of and wrap up the show as he'd like to. So just stand by with us and we'll see what we can do. Let's see. Nope, nothing yet. Okay. Okay. All right, we're still trying to get him back in here. Okay. Bear with me one moment. I will be right back. Okay, folks, still doing some digging around. Bear with me for 1 second. I will be right back again. Okay, and he is back. There is the man himself, I hope. All right.
And it would seem we're back.
Yep, we're back.
At least that would be the theory. Oh, the joys of modern technology. You know, I would apologize for all the difference that makes. I'm not the one that actually creates the technology. I'm just the one that disrupts it. In this case, it may not be just me. But again, when we look at the energy levels that we work with, whatever you got your heart set on, that's the more coordinated an effort you put into something, the better off you are and the more likely you are to succeed. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I do appreciate you pointing that out, LA. Joe, the reality of it is that technology and I have long argued. And until my brother's estate comes through, I will not have the funding to buy state-of-the-art art equipment. However, that is the one thing that I am buying for me because I don't need another vehicle. I don't need an updated vehicle. I don't need to move into a new house. I am simply looking at what I've got and figure out. I'm wondering if maybe, and I'm just going to put this out there because somebody out there is going to give me an idea. Now, I'm in an office on the main floor, but to the reception, if I were to spend the money when the estate comes in to bring in, I've seen them before, a little, I don't know if it's a receiver dish or what the thing is, to snap. Because when my estate comes in, I don't have a lot that I've got to focus on, aside from making sure I stay on the air. But I'm thinking it might be an idea. Just something that I'm thinking, if I can find, because I know they make uplinks, but if I can find one that can sit by my window, okay, and pick up, maybe, just maybe, I can do something with that. And again, it really boils down to whatever it is that you're focusing on, that's what you're aiming towards. Now remember, I only follow 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. In doing this, you will end up by following karmic law, you stack the deck in your favor of things working out reasonably. Okay, that's just the reality behind it. Now, the good news is you don't actually have to believe that things are going to work. Although it does help. Oh, what have we got here? Let's pull that up here and see what I got. Yeah, it would seem. The answer to your question, I know you said in Messenger there, Frank. But yeah, I think we're going to run into more and more. That being said, we're going to call this early, guys. And, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. New technology creates all kinds of challenges. With that in mind, thank you so much for sharing your time. I do look forward to talking to you again. Okay, until then, though, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for peace sakes, stay positive.